You're listening to the Dibbly Dobbly Podcast. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell to make sure you get the latest episodes of the podcast. Be sure to like and share our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Dibbly Dobbly Podcast. On today's episode of the podcast, we review match number 22 of the ICC T20 World Cup for 2021 between Australia and Sri Lanka from the Dubai International Cricket Stadium. It's the Dibbly Dobbly Podcast, and let's get started. Let's have a look at the match summary from game number 22 of this ICC T20 World Cup between Australia and Sri Lanka from the Dubai International Cricket Stadium. Sri Lanka batted first and made 6 for 154 from their 20 overs. Pereira and Asalanka top scored with 35. Zampa, Stark and Cummins took 2 wickets each for Australia. Australia in reply, 3 for 155 from 17 overs. Warner top scored with 65. Hasaranga took 2 wickets for Sri Lanka. Australia won by 7 wickets and Adam Zampa was named man of the match. What were the key moments and key factors from this match between Australia and Sri Lanka? Australia's bowling after Sri Lanka got off to a flyer with the bat and looked like scoring a huge total. They were able to stop the runs by taking wickets, which stopped Sri Lanka's momentum in their innings and kept Sri Lanka to 6 for 154. Australia's batting, the opening partnership between Aaron Finch and David Warner of 70, got Australia off to a good start and set the platform for the other batters coming in to score the runs and guide Australia to a 7-wicket victory. Those were the key moments and key factors from this match between Australia and Sri Lanka. Let's have a look at both teams' performances in this match with both bat and ball. We'll start with Australia and their batsmen. Warner 65, Finch 37, Maxwell 5, Smith 28 not out, and Stoinis 16 not out. That's how the Australian batsmen performed in this match. I thought the batting was quite good from Australia in this match against Sri Lanka. Great signs for Australia that Aaron Finch and David Warner are scoring runs again. Their opening partnership of 70 for the first wicket set the tone for Australia in their innings and saw them to victory. Also, the partnership between Warner and Smith of 50 for the third wicket also contributed to Australia's victory in this match. Australia need Finch and Warner to be scoring runs and getting Australia off to good starts with the bat. We saw that in this game, what they can do when they're on and firing. The challenge for them is to back up this performance for the next few games in this T20 World Cup for Australia. But it's good signs for Australia that Warner and Finch are scoring runs again and getting back into some sort of form. And that's very important for Australia because when Finch and Warner are on, we saw in this game, when they're on. And they're very dangerous. And that's what Australia want to see from Warner and Finch. And hopefully that continues for the rest of the T20 World Cup. Also, Australia will be glad that David Warner's back in form. He's been under pressure by the media and a lot of people calling for his spot. In this innings, he was looking aggressive. He looked like the Warner of old. He had a bit of luck in his innings. He was dropped on 18 by Kusa Pereira off an easy catch, an absolute sitter. And you need that bit of luck. When you're out of form as a batsman, you need that luck, and Warner had that luck and made the most of it. Hopefully for Warner, this will kickstart him into top gear. And hopefully for Australia, he has still a lot of runs left in him for the rest of this T20 World Cup. As we've seen in the past with Australia, they tend to lose wickets early and tend to have batting collapses. In this game against Sri Lanka, we didn't see them lose early wickets or had a batting collapse, which is good to see from Australia. So that's good signs for Australia that they didn't lose early wickets. Warner and Finch were able to get them off to a good start and set the platform and foundation in this match for Australia, which obviously led to Australia winning this match by 7 wickets because Warner and Finch set that platform and for Maxwell, Smith, Stoinis to come in to finish off the job, and it made their job a lot easier. So that's good for Australia that they didn't lose the early wickets, they didn't have a batting collapse, they were able to keep wickets in hand and were able to win this match. So that's good signs for Australia. So overall, a good batting performance from Australia. The challenge for them as a batting group is to back up these performances with the bat for the rest of the T20 World Cup. Let's have a look at their bowlers and their performance in this match. Maxwell and Stoinis didn't take any wickets along with Hazlewood. But 2 wickets for Cummins, Stark and Zampa. That's how the bowlers performed in this match for Australia. I thought Australia bowled well. Sri Lanka started well with the bat and looked like they were going to post a big total with the bat. But Australia did well to take wickets at regular intervals and stop Sri Lanka's momentum and kept them to a score of 154 on this surface here in Dubai. They bowled good lines and lengths, did well to keep the pressure on Sri Lanka with the ball. And all of the bowlers did their role and executed their role well for Australia in this match. The one area Australia can work on is their execution of their skills with the ball. Australia could have kept Sri Lanka below 150 at one stage, but they had some expensive overs and mis-executed their skills with the ball. That's something Australia will need to improve going forward, especially for their next match against England. Overall, a good performance from Australia with the ball. Overall, a good performance from Australia. They have won 2 games in a row now, and hopefully for them, this winning momentum can continue for the rest of the tournament. Let's have a look at Sri Lanka's team performance with both bat and ball in this match. We'll start with their batsmen. Nissanka, 7. Kusal Perera, 35. Asalanka, 35. Fernando, 4. Rajapaksa, 33, not out. That's how the Sri Lankan batsmen performed in this match. Sri Lanka's batting in this match was good at the beginning of their innings, but fell away towards the back end of their innings. Got off to a good start with the bat and looked like posting a big total at one stage. The partnership between Kusal Perera and Asalanka, 63 for the second wicket, was looking like the partnership that would get Sri Lanka to a big total in this match. But once they got out, they lost wickets at regular intervals. 1 for 15, 2 for 78, 3 for 86, 4 for 90, 5 for 94, 6 for 134. At 5 for 94, they were looking at a low total, but the late hitting cameo from Rajapaksa, 33 not out of 26 balls, got Sri Lanka to that 154 score, which gave Sri Lanka's bowlers something to bowl to. His late order partnerships with Shankar, 40 for the 6th wicket, and Kururatne, 20 not out for the 7th wicket, were also handy for Sri Lanka. In the end, Sri Lanka didn't have enough runs to play with, and Australia were able to chase down the runs with ease to win this match by 7 wickets. The loss of wickets after a great start put Sri Lanka back in their innings and stopped their momentum. No batsman carried on and scored a big score, which they needed someone to bat through the innings to be able to give them that big total. Overall, a disappointing performance from Sri Lanka with the bat in this match against Australia. They had a golden opportunity to post a big total after a great start, but the loss of wickets prevented them from doing that. That's something Sri Lanka will need to address in their next match against South Africa. Let's have a look at Sri Lanka's bowlers and talk about their performance in this match. 2 wickets for Hasaranga, 1 wicket for Shanaka, no wickets for Kururatne, Chamira, Kumara and Tikshana. That's how the Sri Lankan bowlers performed in this match. I thought Sri Lanka's bowling in this match was poor. They couldn't take wickets at regular intervals like Australia did in their batting innings. Their lines and lengths were inconsistent. They didn't quite execute their plans or skills with the ball. Couldn't keep the pressure on with the ball and leaked runs. The drop catch from Kusal Perera off David Warner when he was on 18 off 11 balls could have changed the result of this match, but that got Warner firing and back into form, and he took the game away from Sri Lanka, scoring 67 off 42 balls. As the old saying goes, catches win matches, and you don't need to drop a catch, but for Perera, that was a simple catch, an absolute sitter, and that could have been the game-changing moment there, and could have got Sri Lanka in some touching distance of winning this match. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be. He dropped the catch and Warner went on to score 67. So overall, a poor performance with the ball from Sri Lanka. Nothing much you can add to that. It was just a poor performance. Overall, a disappointing performance from Sri Lanka in this match. There's a lot of things they need to improve with both bat and ball heading into their next match against South Africa. Let's have a look at both teams' potential 11s for their next T20 World Cup match. We'll start with Australia and their potential 11 for their next match against England. Warner, Finch, Maxwell, Smith, Stoinis, Mitchell Marsh, Wade, Cummins, Stark, Samper and Hazelwood. I think Australia will keep the same team for their next match against England. Very important for Australia to build their consistency with this team. And by keeping the same team, you have that cohesion and unity with the team. And Australia have some momentum with this team, and it's very important to keep that cohesion and unity. They've won 2 games in a row now with this team. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And usually in cricket, you stay with the same 11 if you keep winning. So I think Australia will keep the same 11 for their next match against England. That could be Australia's potential 11 for their next match against England. Let's have a look at Sri Lanka's potential 11 for their next match against South Africa. Nisanka, Pereira, Asalanka, Fernando, Rajapaksa, Hasaranga, Shanaka, Kurarakna, Chamira, Kumara and Tikshana. I think Sri Lanka will keep the same 11 for their next match against South Africa. This team has gelled well for Sri Lanka. This game against Australia didn't quite go their way and didn't quite get the job done with this 11. But I don't think they need to make dramatic changes to the team after this loss to Australia. It's very important for Sri Lanka to have that cohesion and unity in the team. This team has done well playing with each other, so I think they'll keep the same 11 for their next match against South Africa. That could be Sri Lanka's potential 11 for their next match against South Africa. And these could be the potential 11s for both Australia and Sri Lanka for their next match in this T20 World Cup. What can we expect from both teams heading into their next match of this ICC T20 World Cup? Australia's next game is against England at Dubai on the 31st of October. That game will be tough for Australia. England are a very good T20 side and Australia will have to be at their best to beat England. The important thing for Australia is to back up this good performance against Sri Lanka heading into that match against England. If they want to win this T20 World Cup, they need to be consistent and back up their performances. Sri Lanka's next game is against South Africa at Sharjah on the 30th of October. That game for Sri Lanka will be tough. South Africa are coming off a good win against the West Indies and are full of confidence. Sri Lanka will need to improve with both bat and ball if they are to beat South Africa. Overall, a great win for Australia. Hopefully for Australia, they can build on this winning momentum and win a few more games and go all the way in this T20 World Cup. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell to get the latest episodes of the podcast, and like and share our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. Until next time, keep safe and bye for now.